Can you hear okay, Jim?
I'm proud to say that my team, the Baker Realty Group, has been helping people buy and sell homes in the Greater Sunbury area for over 10 years. Information about buying and selling a home is available on my website, BakerRealtyGroup.com, on Facebook by searching Baker Realty Group, or by calling 608-575-6731. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the Sunbury Real Estate Show with Bill Baker.
Welcome to the Prairie Real Estate Show with your host, Bill Baker.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Prairie Real Estate Show. I'm Bill Baker, your host, and glad that you can join us. It's another fabulous hump day, or Wednesday for those other folks, and we've got a great show planned for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about a subject that has been missing in this crazy market that we've been in, and that's about home inspections. And the real question is, does home inspection really matter? And to do that, we brought in our expert, our specialist, the guru himself of home inspections, Mr. Jim Belanger from Wisconsin Home Inspections. And we're going to talk to him about it and let you get it right from the man's mouth himself. And we're also going to talk to you about the importance of doing the home inspection prior to purchase, and then also the really important part of after your purchase, if you didn't do it, of doing that home inspection. You're listening to 103.5 WLSP, The Sun. We're underwritten by those wonderful folks at the Bank of Sun Prairie, the Baker Realty Group, and of course, Wintrust Mortgage. And Laura, we are your area of life in the way of mortgage rates and lending and all that stuff seems a bit volatile. Up and down and up and down. Uh-oh.
We're just on a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I'm getting
It's
nauseous.
all perception, right? That could be fun.
But I'm getting sick. I'm getting a little nauseous of being on that roller coaster. You know.
Well, it's better lately. Interest rates have come down, so.
Oh, that they have?
It's better. Yes.
Well, okay, that's
we're
true.
We're nowhere near the 2s and 3s we were in last year, but they're better, so we'll take it.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this before we get to Jim and talk to Jim about this.
Are we frozen?
Yeah, just on that computer, but not on your real stuff. We're okay on that, the real stuff. People have been asking me at our favorite restaurant, Buck and Honey's, if inflation has slowed down the market. Has it greatly affected the real estate market? And I'll let you go first. I'll let you respond to what you're seeing.
I don't know about that. Is the question, is rising inflation stopping people from wanting to buy homes?
There you go.
Is that the question?
That's one thing.
Well, I don't know. I don't know that I'm really seeing that necessarily, but then again, I don't know that people necessarily can communicate that or realize that. Maybe they're just feeling pressure all around them and deciding now's not the right time, so they take themselves out. Some of it might have to do with interest rate, but honestly, I feel like the people who left the market, it was more about buyer fatigue. Just losing out on offer after offer and like, now's not the right time, so I'm just going to take a break.
Yeah,
kind of conversations. When it jumped over 6% for a brief time, I do feel like that was a bit of a breaking point for people. So I don't know, news takes a while to catch up. Now that we're back under and in the mid-5s, maybe it'll bring some more people back in. I don't know, but then inflation is still there and rising. So,
you know, what I'm seeing is that we have folks that were well, first of all, we talk about the first-time home buyers. Some of them got shut out.
some did.
I mean, because the price points, it's just shoved them out. And then others, if they were, say they were at a $300,000 max in the way of pre-approval, now they're at $250,000 or $275,000 in the style of homes, which makes it even more of a challenge. But what we're seeing is a higher influx of homes coming onto the market. Sales right now are tracking a little bit behind last July. We're down about 35%. for the first 15 days of the month, but average price is $404,000 in Sun Prairie.
Yeah.
That's just a
Wow.
little spooky. Spooky. It's spooky, isn't it?
It's not spooky, it's just for first-time buyers,
Yeah.
that's way out of their range.
Yeah, that's true.
First-time buyer range, though, went from, I remember, I guess, back in, my home buying years, like 150, and then, 200, and then we're over 300, and it's like, oh my God, what is happening? How is that first-time home buyer range? But it is. It's the reality of the situation. Although we're seeing the market improve now, finally. People can offer with contingencies, maybe even a home inspection.
Actually, just had one, and we had a home inspection.
There you
and
go.
Went through with this, but
It's starting to shift, and it's much, much needed.
Yeah,
It really is. For everybody, I think buyers and sellers.
what I'm seeing is right now we've got 45 houses on the market in the city of Sun Prairie. Of that 45, only 30 of them are real houses. The rest are new construction that haven't been built yet. They're putting ghost listings on. We talk about that every week. If I've added the ghost listings are 445,900, and 99.9999% of those are Viridian homes, by the way,
Yeah.
that are there. 15 active new construction listings, $445,900. 50% of all offers that have sold have had competing offers, which is down a little bit, down about 12% compared to June at the same time. So we still have competing offers, but they're just not as many.
It's not as bad.
No. And of all of the sales that we had, 20 conventional, 1 VA, 1 FHA. That's it.
1 VA, 1 FHA.
Yeah.
Well, at least there's one of each.
Once Jim makes you want to bring out your toolkit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know. I'm always messing with these things over there.
Are you adjusting over
He
there?
did.
Yeah, I adjusted.
He's professional at this. Now, Jim Belanger, who we're talking to right here, welcome back.
Thank you.
Your
Thanks
fifth
for having
time.
me. Yeah.
Man,
Fifth time?
I think it is, yeah.
Wow.
But when it's home inspections, we go to Jim.
Yeah.
Period.
We appreciate that.
You know why? People ask me all the time, why? And I said, I get a straight, honest answer, and there's no fluff. There's no. You're not going to scare the hell out of them. Is what I'm going to say.
No, and you got to do the right thing, but it's what you say, how you say things, not what you say,
Right.
and that makes I think the world of difference.
And you're very good at that.
I try.
I love that video. Every time I say that, I think of the video where the guy's going, GFI, need a GFI, need a GF.
There's a defect. There's another one.
People have asked me again, why about you? And I just give you the description that gives me the key to it all. But what's really important is your background, your expertise. I mean, not only are you a home inspector, you're a builder, developer, real estate agent, and great guy.
Well, he's a great guy. It's debatable, but the
I kinda
other
like
stuff,
it.
I just lived long enough in the one industry, I guess.
And if you want to check him out, you got to do this. Go to jimonhomes.com. jimonhomes.com. Will it have a feed over to your YouTube page?
It does.
And-
And the new website should be up real shortly.
Cool.
And it's I finally decided the other stuff's 12 years old. Let's update.
Yeah.
And so it's going to rock.
Well, that's cool. Well, have you been just sitting around twiddling your thumbs? Because we know that offers are coming in clean and when I say clean, no home inspection, no appraisal, bam, get her done. And
I haven't had this much time off or this much free time since 1986. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been
Wow.
weird. It's just been,
Yeah.
somebody will call and they want me to come in and do one or do one after the fact or,
sure.
and I, thank God I have other things going that I'm working on with building and everything else. But yeah, it just got crickets for a
That's
while.
why it's good you're multifaceted, right? So that if one slows down, you
Yep.
can keep going with the other. Are you finding that a lot of people are doing them or have been doing them after purchase, not as part of the contract?
Very few as part of the contract. A little less than that after the sale. And I've been pushing people, if you're going to do that, knowing that this is how this is going to come out, to save everybody's liability, do a pre-inspection, and have the seller do a pre-inspection. So at least if I find something major, everybody knows about it up front, and it can be dealt with. Because without doing an inspection, there's going to be somebody that's going to get injured because something went wrong that could have been caught, and once the lawyers get involved, it's game over.
Well, I mean, you have to be going crazy. I mean, I know how much you care about people, and you have to be sitting there just, going, shutting your eyes, going, please do an inspection, please do an inspection. But they can't, or it seems
they can't.
It seems like they can't. But you and I have talked about it. There are options, and Laura knows these too, because we talk about it all the time. When you're writing an offer, you don't have to eliminate the inspection, but you can write some added verbiage in there that may give rest or give comfort to the seller.
We're not going to ask for any repairs under $2,000, $5,000, $10,000.
There you go.
And that should alleviate a lot of the stress. But it's it's as important to the seller, I think, to have an inspection done too, because again, this is a sue happy world, and when things go wrong, and they will, because this is housing and it's not a perfect product, when it goes wrong, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. You were sharing a story earlier with us before we went on air of a situation where you got to see it. Was it after the?
Yeah. They closed at 9 in the morning, and I was there at 1.
How'd that happen?
They didn't do the inspection. They said, well, we'll just have it inspected for our own benefit after the closing.
Great idea.
And I thought it was a great idea too. First-time home buyer, really nice, sweet young lady, and I'm guessing she put most of her money in to get this condo for herself, everything, all of her extra cash she had sitting around. And I get in there, and as it turns out, the furnace was dead. It did not work.
What?
Period. The furnace was out.
Well, there's a huge suit right there.
That's
They
big.
knew it. The sellers had to know it.
You would think so. The furnace, or the water heater, was 30 years old.
Okay.
Typical life expectancy of a water heater is 7 to 12 years. So
wow.
I'm not saying it's going to die tomorrow, but
sure.
Statistics are what they are, and it's another expense.
Yeah.
And the air conditioners have a design life of about 25 years. This one was grossly undersized and 30 years old as well.
Undersized for the unit, the square footage?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, how did that happen? How did that get past a city inspector when they wrote the permit for the AC unit?
I've seen this, and as a custom home builder competing with other people, I've said, can I get the other guy's contract? Let's just go apples for apples. And more than once I've seen things like, very undersized. And we have to do a calculation sheet of the house itself, and that'll tell us what size furnace, what size air conditioner, and so on. But that doesn't mean that's what they put in.
What?
And I don't know how their contracts read, but I had one where, it was a 4,000 square foot house, and they had a 1-ton air conditioner, which that's good for probably 900 square feet.
What? Wow.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, well, that, and that's, comparing apples to apples on a building sense.
Sure.
They had $1,000 gravel allowance. I put more than that in the driveway before we even pour concrete.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, and these are allowance items. Their cabinets were so yeah, they smoked me on price, but they couldn't build that house without having extras on every single level.
Oh my goodness.
And I learned a long time ago, buyers are going to figure it out. If
Sure.
you lie to them,
Yeah.
or you shortchange them somewhere,
Yeah.
they're going to figure it out, and they're not going to like you. So tell them the truth and have them like you after the deal.
Yeah, because if they don't like you, they'll tell 100 people.
Exactly.
But if they do like you, they'll tell one. Isn't that funny? Should
Yeah.
be the
Doing
other
the
way
right
around.
thing.
Well, I challenge people, in new homes, and I know that's not the subject you want to be on
No,
necessarily.
that's all right.
I challenge people on new homes that, in your neighborhood, you all have one thing in common. You recently built a house. And so at that first block party, my challenge to you is, when everybody else is complaining about their builder and what happened during their sale or build, my challenge to you is step up and tell them all the good things that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just offering that challenge, and it has worked. You know, people say, well, we didn't have that problem with Jim because he told us up front this is how it's going to be.
So you know, the title of the show today is does a home inspection really matter? Now we're talking about new construction, and you and I have had conversations on previous shows with us that on a new constructed home, that it's even more vital for you to be involved in that process.
Absolutely.
And tell people why.
Well, I did a new construction inspection. I got up on the roof, and the shingles started out level, and pretty soon there was a small gap between the row. At the end of the row, there was 6 inches of felt paper exposed.
Oh, wow.
And while I'm up there, I noticed that when they test your plumbing, they have to take the vents and they put a cover over them so they can make sure everything's sealed properly. Well, the vent cover was still on there, which means there was no ventilation for the plumbing system in this house.
Mold?
I got into well, that's just even to get it to drain properly. So the sinks would gurgle and so on. And then I got into the basement and the electrical, and it was a mess. There's no way a licensed electrician did that house. So, and that was this was a few years ago, but back then it was $400,000 house.
Wow.
Oh my
Wow.
word.
Like I said, I was trying to tell people, don't be an alarmist, but some of these things just like,
Sure.
here's a list of things that really need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And they said they had the occupancy permit. I said, I don't think so, because I know the inspector here. I have his cheat sheet. There's not a chance that they went and did this.
Oh my goodness.
So, and they ended up having to come out, and they ended up having to repair everything.
Well,
So,
did they have an occupancy permit or
No.
not? They
No,
thought
that
they
was
did,
made
but
up.
they didn't.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so when you're doing a new construction project, how many times do you come out through the process? I mean,
I'm there almost every day.
It's what?
Oh, yeah.
As a home inspector?
Oh, no.
As a builder.
No,
As a builder.
No, as an inspector,
As an inspector.
inspecting new construction. When do you start and when do you finish, I guess?
So I do consulting as well.
Yeah.
I have people that'll call me on new construction to do consulting. Not that they don't trust their builder, but they want another set of eyes on things.
Sure.
And so I'll go through and just through different phases of it and just keep checking. But typically on new construction, I just do the one inspection at the end of the deal when the house is complete before the closing.
Okay. But how do you know what's behind those walls? How do you know?
Unless we go out on
Right.
like the consulting end of it,
Sure.
we just don't know.
So you're kind of being hired as a general.
Well, I'm not actually hiring any of the work done. I'm
You know what I mean?
Just a set of eyes.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad idea, though.
No.
Because I've been told that, you should, if you're building a house, you should be out there every day.
Yep.
Walking the property, walking through, meeting the guys or gals that are building that house, and don't bring them the beer until after hours.
Yep.
Well, I'm being serious about it.
Wow.
Because from what I've been told, what I've read and all that, is that the closer they are to you, the better the chances it'll be done right the first time.
I have a thing where I tell my clients, okay, this guy's going to be your trimmer, and he loves Hershey's with almonds, and that's his thing. And I guarantee you, if you maybe bring him a candy bar or two
Sure.
while you come out and check out there, and you say, well, what about doing this in the master closet?
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, I'll just build it for you. I'll just do it.
Yeah.
Well, who knows, right?
So
Right.
they have some guys that's like they don't drink alcohol, so
Uh-huh.
you can bring them beer, but you want to make them happy.
Yeah.
Bring them water and Gatorade.
Oh, yeah, there you
Sure.
And
They
so
need to hydrate.
go. Load up that
especially
cooler and
now.
just
Yeah.
set it out there for them.
exactly.
With Hershey bars.
And yep.
And a day
Water,
like,
Gatorade, and Hershey bars.
Yeah,
Why not?
exactly.
Yeah.
for me, it'd be M&M. Peanut M&M. So
Oh yeah.
I'm addicted
That's
to
always
those.
That supposedly don't melt in your hand, but
They
they
do.
do.
They melt in your mouth, not in your hand.
Right, that's a lie, especially now, right?
Uh-huh.
Chocolate is gonna melt people.
So what are things that you've caught on new construction that people would want to know about?
Other than the things that we just talked about, something I find just hilarious that I find in all of them. And as a builder, I'm not going into some other builder's home with I'm going to raise hell with
Yeah.
this guy. That's not what this is about. This is
Well, that's not your style
that's
anyway.
not my style.
No.
But it surprises me. There's usually at least one cabinet drawer that doesn't work right,
Oh,
and I don't know why that is. It's like does anybody else just pull them open and just make sure they're working, or what? But yeah,
They're in a
it's
hurry, maybe.
a lot of times little things. And the last house I built, I found it kind of interesting because when they came to do the final occupancy, I was there with the building inspector.
Yeah.
And this house had 2 panels, a very large house. And he said, our insurance doesn't cover us opening the electrical panels, so we don't do that.
Who said that? The
building
building
inspector.
inspector? What?
And I
He's-
said, okay, well, if you want,
I'll open them for you.
I'm going to open it for you. I trust my electrician with my life, and that's a true statement. I've got an excellent electrician. But I want you to look at this stuff, because who knows if the homeowner does some work later on, and then
Right.
something
They can't
happens.
open it, but they can look at it?
Yeah, he said that taking the lid off. Or you can get a arc flash that'll come out, and it has injured people. Taking the lid off, things will touch and
Wow, I
and
didn't know
blast
that.
you. So
It's like people trying to siphon gas with a wet vac.
yeah, or yeah.
Did you hear about that? Guy's trying to siphon gas out of his car in his garage with a wet vac. He now has no garage. It burnt down. It caught on fire.
Oh,
Look,
oh, no.
gasoline. Actually, you could take a cigarette and throw it into gasoline, and nothing will happen. But you hold that cigarette up above the gasoline, and it'll explode.
Yep.
It'll ignite
Interesting.
because it's the fumes. It's not the
It's not
the liquid.
liquid, yeah.
Right. It's the
Huh.
fumes.
Wow.
Well, the thing that gets me a lot of times with new construction is no deck, no landscaping, and things like that. We're getting off topic again, but you just spent $400,000 and you have these wooden steps going down to your muddy backyard.
Yep.
We usually have to have it graded and seeded.
At least, final graded. And then what I run into on there's something I run into all the time is the excavator or whoever's doing the grading will put the dirt right up to the bottom of the siding.
Oh,
And there really should be, a good 6 to 8 inches underneath the siding that's exposed, and then taper away from the house. So if it's got barely a taper, now you got to lower it, 6, 8 inches.
Sure.
You're rescraping the whole yard.
oh my gosh, and that's
Do
costly.
they do that for settling purposes? But that's too high.
No, they just
Like,
do it it's just something that happens.
I just did it.
because
Just do it.
They just do
Yep.
it.
It was a Budweiser move.
Yeah, nobody's ever, like the artificial stone, there's a whole group that's deals with artificial stone and all the rules and how you have to apply it and stuff like that. And the masons call it lick and stick. Just butter it up and stick it on, you're done.
Oh,
Lick and
So,
stick.
yep.
Okay.
And,
Peel and stick. Lick
but
and
you
stick.
need a couple inches of clearance underneath that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're there first, they put it on the house, and then it's the landscaper. But the landscaper never read the manuals on how to properly install this stuff and where to keep the grade. So they just push the dirt up against it and
They're
figure
just there to move
it's stone,
dirt.
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that's true.
For all of you that are on Facebook right now watching, if you have any questions about home inspection, that you've maybe had a home inspection, things happened, or situations that you want to ask this gentleman, you're more than welcome to do that. Just go into the message center and put your descriptive in there. You talked about a situation where the furnace wasn't working in one of the inspections that you did post-closing.
Correct.
And as a realtor, we know that our job stops at closing. Now, we are still the concierge, as I say,
Yeah.
because they're going to call us first and go, my damn furnace isn't working. What are we going to do about it? Well, we know that the only thing there to do is have some conversation. Maybe we can work that out, but it's not supposed to be us as
No.
realtors. We're supposed to put the contact of the buyer and seller, which sometimes works. Others they're scared to death. They know they were in the wrong, and it doesn't work. But the last part is you're going to have to sue them.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sue them. And that's why it's so important for that real estate condition report to be accurate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've had situations like that come up before, and then how do you prove that if it did not show up on a real estate condition report that previous seller knew about it? That's where the attorney has the challenge. Like, how do we prove that?
Yep.
That they knew that? And that's a hard thing to prove.
You know, one of the first steps? you go to
Ask
the
the
neighbors.
neighbors.
The neighbors. The neighbors will
Neighbors
tell
you
everything.
I'm thinking about for financing purposes, if the lender knew that the furnace wasn't working in
Right.
a house in Wisconsin, that
Oh.
wouldn't work,
No.
Yeah.
you know? But
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that are gonna come up down the line. What troubles me about it is the amount of money that people are paying for houses these days, and so many of them paid well over asking price just to get it, and waived every contingency possible. And so then they might already be feeling a little apprehensive because of the price, the extra they paid, maybe the appraisal came out fine, good, but then they find out these colossal repairs, expenses that are coming their way. That's huge.
And what
It's
do
a
you do?
problem.
Yeah.
Nothing. There's nothing you can
There's
do.
nothing you can do. You're stuck.
And I always, I always ask people, how did you do on your offer? I don't really care. I just want to know. In this
Yeah.
market, some people are offering, they're getting a list price.
Sure.
That's a win.
How huge?
Oh, yeah.
And my record that I've heard is 103,000 over full price.
You
Wow.
actually heard that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, why? I don't understand.
She really wanted the house.
Well,
and
but you
it's a
got
$900,000 house, so there was, it's a
Okay,
different
that's
financial.
a little different.
Little different, yeah. But, somebody spends 40 grand over full price, and there's a $2,000 issue. I don't know. Maybe that's how I sleep at night. But how do you tell them, pound sand? I'm
Sure.
not doing anything. You just paid me 40 grand extra. We found something that's $2,000.
Yeah.
Help them out. You came out.
I know, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, the 900,000 situation, that's a little over 1% above the asking price. I'm okay with that. I get
Yeah.
that.
That's very different, really.
We've had the conversations on the show here about people that are pricing low just to show off,
Yep.
to get as many, right.
Create a frenzy.
Yeah, they're going to
Yeah.
create chaos. And we don't need to do that. All we need is one offer
Yeah.
that's acceptable.
I learned that years ago. You can only sell a house to one person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you sell it to two people,
yeah.
Well, that's a problem.
That's a
I hope you
problem.
like each other.
yeah.
There were the days when we had I would say a bird in the hand. We have a bird in the hand, let's run with this. And well, I thought we'd wait till another offer comes in. And I'd look back at my client and go, another one's not coming.
You might
This is your
regret that.
offer.
Yeah.
Let's work with this and see what we can make happen out of this.
Yep.
Because it never happens. That second offer never comes in. But, I
I
mean,
heard a realtor talking recently about a situation where they did get in no, I don't remember if they had or if they just went ahead and did the inspection, but they had to have access. So I guess my presumption would be that they had it in the offer as a contingency. But there were cracks in the basement, and not just cracks, but like to the point where supposedly all of it was going to have to be like redone. The whole foundation was going to have to be redone, and the quote they got was $100,000.
Yeah.
So and this was a first-time home buyer range property. So you think about that, the things that you don't know, you're not an expert as a buyer. Most buyers are not an expert in any of these areas. We don't know what to look for, right? So
And even Uncle Fred, who
yes, a lot of
worked on
people
a
are
house when
doing
he was in
that.
college,
Yeah.
built his own deck, so now he's an expert.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm a better person than Uncle Fred, but my training
Experience.
and my experience teaches me things that maybe he doesn't know because he built a deck.
Yeah.
So,
I was reading something in, was it one of the realtor magazines anyway, about evidently it was a thing that realtors, buyers were bringing an inspector along with them.
on the showings.
Like, this is my Uncle Fred.
Yep.
It's not my Uncle Fred.
No.
But they were kind of going, stealth, trying to get an inspection done, kind of. And they're like, stop doing that. I don't know how they found that out, but interesting that
Well,
they
I
were.
mean, we have a standards of practice, which is a statute formatted document that is our licensing law for home inspections. And it's very specific on what we must do and what we cannot do. And I don't know how you can put the must do things into a walkthrough.
Yeah. I don't think you can.
You're not charging them for the inspection? Fine.
Well, you know what,
You
maybe
get that
that's
nickel
how
from
they got
them.
caught. Maybe it was the inspector that was actually doing what you do.
Yeah.
And then somebody was like, what's going on? I don't
Yeah.
think you're Uncle Fred anymore. I think
Yep.
you're actually an inspector.
Well, there's cameras in everybody's house. Everybody has a Ring doorbell.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta watch what you say, how you say things.
True.
You
Yeah.
know.
just follow the golden rule and you're all set.
Do
Yep.
it right
Hey, I got to tell you about this. So, a friend of mine that I grew up with in Michigan during high school, who now lives in Kentucky, they're selling her brother-in-law's house. And here was her question to me. Now, you got to remember, I have a Michigan license, I have a Wisconsin license. I don't have a Kentucky license. But I thought she was talking about her brother-in-law being in Michigan, but here's how it started. Said, she goes, quick question, we're selling my brother-in-law's house as is. The buyer is buying it as is and wants an inspection. If he finds anything, can he back out? She says, my worry is we do not know anything about the house, and if they find something and back out, now we know, and we are trying to do a quick sale. And I said to her, well, here's the thing you got to look at on this, and as putting your realtor hat on, I said, if you have an accepted offer and the inspection is contingent upon, in the offer, contingency of the offer, yes, the buyer has a right to follow some different directions in the state of Wisconsin.
Yep.
If you write in the offer that the seller does not have the right to cure, then you can back out of the deal. If the seller does have the right to cure, then it's going to follow some different steps on it. And what she was telling me, they have an accepted offer. Now they want to do the inspection, and they're thinking like $20,000 worth of work that they saw when they initially walked through the place.
And in that particular case, if it's not contingent, and it's as is, I would say no.
You wouldn't let somebody come in and inspect?
They come in afterwards. That's the hard part, because
Right.
you're right, they could back out.
Sure.
And they knew they were buying it as is. A buyer still needs to do their own due diligence.
Sure.
So it's like a radon test.
Right.
If you didn't write a testing contingency, and I'll have buyers that'll say, yeah, I need a radon too. And I'll get the radon, they're like, it's not in the offer. And the seller says no. Because if I find out there's high radon levels,
Exactly.
Yeah.
either way they're going to ask for, so,
Right.
as heartless as that may sound, you're selling it as is, especially
Sure.
in a house when you didn't live there. It sounds like it might have been an estate
Exactly.
or something.
Right.
How would you know?
So, well, let's talk about as is. What that clause means, as is. Now, a lot of people it just means we're not doing any work. We're selling it the way it is.
Yep.
But it doesn't prevent, and if you're listening on the radio, listen. Facebook, listen to me right now. If I represent you as a buyer agent, and even if it says as is, that does not take away your right to negotiate and ask for something. They're just saying they're not going to do any work. Doesn't mean they're not going to discount. There doesn't mean they're not going to throw you a few dollars. Because if you back out and you've if you found something in an inspection process, now they're responsible to actually tell all parties. So that problem does not go away. So most times they're willing to work on it. I don't think there's been an as-is situation where I haven't been able to negotiate something.
Well, look at a couple of years ago when it was all bank-owned properties. They wanted to sell them as is.
Right.
Now, I get in there and find out the furnace is shot, it's not working.
Right.
The bank doesn't want to lend money on
No.
a house that has a bad furnace,
Right.
even if they're the owner.
That's exactly right.
So they're going to be put in a position they're going to have to do some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's all negotiation, and
Mhm.
it's all about having a professional realtor,
Yeah.
and a professional lender,
Sure.
and a
Yep.
professional inspector, people that are just not fly-by-night.
You're taking
and
the words right out of my mouth.
take the
All I keep
experience.
hearing is make sure you're working with somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
If you just really need to understand what an inspection is about. And do I want to have that or not? Do I want to have extra testing? So you need to know both sides of it, what it means to you as a buyer, but you also need to know that in this kind of a market, your offer might not be accepted. You just need to know these things, and then the realtor obviously needs to be sure that the proper language is in the contract. So I think a lot of people think that you realtors just, like your tour guides, and you might write out some contracts.
Look at this sunny living room.
Yes.
Isn't this beautiful?
Yes.
Oh, it's not big enough? Well, we can always remove this wall. We could take this down. And then we can paint it champagne gold.
They don't understand the liability involved.
No,
It's a contract that they're helping you write.
Right.
And if you're not protected in all the areas in the contract, it could be a huge problem for you later.
Yeah, but how many agents out there actually know to put that clause in there or the wording in there to say, yes, we need to do the home inspection, and will be responsible for the first $2,500 of defects. Of defects. You got to put that defects word in there.
Then they need to know what that means too.
Sure.
What's a defect? What's considered a defect?
Well, the agent should have explained that to them, and
It's right in the offer to purchase.
it's right in the offer to purchase.
And as a matter of
Doesn't
fact, it's
really
right
explain.
in my report.
That's true, Laura.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks for
It's
it's
Yeah, you're right.
How much do
And
you want to
again,
offer? What closing date you want? How much earnest money can you throw out?
right.
It's working.
There's a whole lot more to the contract than that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, in this, if you have a home inspection and we have that clause of $2,500, that doesn't mean you have to do the work. You're not just throwing another $2,500 in at the time of closing or anything.
No.
You can do the work on a gradual process. If I've got double tapping on my electrical box, I can have Pat Ross come out for $100 and remove and change that double tapping
Yep.
at a later time. But you don't have to freak out about it because you're putting a bunch of money down anyway, probably.
Yep.
And you can address that. Being aware of the water heater. I mean, maybe there is a home inspection that you buy yourself for $500 or $400, whatever it is, and to protect you a little bit.
You
And
mean
it's
the warranty?
well, home warranty. That's the home inspection.
Yeah.
Home warranty. I meant.
Yep. And I think they're super valuable.
Me too.
Especially first-time home buyers,
Oh yeah.
because they're putting all their reserves, all their funds are
Yeah.
going into buying this.
Uh-huh.
And that first $3,000 item that goes wrong, and it was working at the time of the closing, it was
Right.
things still die.
Stuff happens. New stuff breaks down.
Yeah,
I
even
mean,
if you're not a first-time buyer.
no.
Things. Look at the world that we're living in right now, where everything is costing more, and there's all the talk of inflation. People just don't necessarily have the disposable income that they should have, no matter what kind of a buyer you are. So I think it's a good idea. Whenever.
But all of the home warranties are not the same. You have to do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions, folks, if you're listening to me right now, listen. Ask the real estate agent if they are being reimbursed by the home warranty company for recommending it, or if their brokerage owns any part of it, or if they're being reimbursed for it. And if they are, run. Or at least have the thought process of, let me check this out a little
Yeah, I
bit.
don't know about run. Just educate yourself.
Well,
Know what you're doing.
Be aware.
Yeah, be aware. Be
Yeah.
aware.
Buyer, be aware.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
That
Please.
is so true.
Mm-hmm.
So are this lady's going to have to sue them for the do you know how this all came out?
I actually don't.
Oh,
And I know this buyer through my wife's work and,
okay.
and so on.
All right.
I mean, I had my heating company on standby. They had a truck ready to go.
Yeah.
And they called me and said, "Is she calling us?" And I said, "Well, let me call her." And she said, "Well, I called the seller and they just told me to call their guy."
Yeah. Oh, I hope it worked
So
out.
I
for
don't
them.
know how, and I'm like, did your guy pay for it? Are they paying
Were
for
the
it?
seller? Yeah. Were they going to pay for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You don't know how that turned out? If it was
No.
her expense or not?
no.
Wow.
That's really.
That was my word.
And maybe the reason I don't know is because it didn't go the way it should have, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Right.
Or maybe
If
they
they
just got
knew
it
about
done.
it, that's really down and dirty.
And who knows if they knew about it, because
Yeah,
the house
we don't
was
know.
vacant.
Okay.
So did it die 6 hours
It
before
could've.
closing?
Yeah.
Right. It
So
could.
that's the things we don't know. There's
Yeah.
there's a
Right.
time of death.
Yeah.
we don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That poor
Known as
furnace.
pre-existing
Aw.
conditions also.
Yes, yes.
Those pre-existing conditions.
These are the things people don't really realize either when it comes to home inspection. Like, I guess I know that just from replacing our air conditioner, but how many people really know what size air conditioner you have and if it's right or wrong? And that's just one tiny example of all the things that could be wrong around your property that you just don't know about.
If you get a class act organization, let's say Cardinal. I mean, Cardinal Heating and Plumbing. They're great people over there, and they would be the ones that'll walk you through and show you the different levels of air conditioning.
yes.
And show you, here's what, this is the bare minimum, or this is the minimum requirements, this is what this one means. Here's the more expensive unit, but there's a reason for that. Maybe you recoup the cost, something like that.
They also talk to you about efficiency, like with your furnace and your air conditioning,
Yeah.
and maybe the age of your furnace. And part of that is well, maybe they get to sell you both, maybe.
Right.
But they also, to me, it felt like an education. We ended up not doing that just because of the difference. But we went through Cardinal, and they did a really good job of explaining these things that I didn't know about. So, yeah, work with professionals. I keep repeating that.
I know. Hey, question for you. That keeps coming into my world. I can't get any of them on the show. They won't talk to us. Or on the phone on the show. Solar panels.
Yeah.
Where's that falling into home inspections? I know it's part of the roof and all that.
It's part of the roof, but the state has removed us from dealing with solar panels.
Oh my gosh.
So we don't have to deal with them at all. And I've been on houses that have them, so I look at the roof and make sure there's not exposed holes or something where the panels were mounted. But yeah, it's interesting because now there's such a push for it. We're going to see a lot more of it. And you know, I can't tell the difference between one made by BP and one made by
Tesla. Yeah.
You know, that's really out of my scope.
They're reminding me of, now I'm just going to show my age, but it was way before me, the Tin Men.
Yes.
Aluminum siding salesmen are coming out selling. Oh, do we have a deal for you? And because here's your $25 rebate from the federal government, but it's $40,000.
Yeah.
Now you can lease this if you like, or we will also finance it, but they don't tell them what happens if they sell their house in the next 2 years.
Well,
What happens to that loan?
Yep.
Is it attached to the house?
Well, here's the other thing: is they take a piece of ownership. They have a lien on your house.
Yeah.
So you go to sell your house, or let's say you refi it. For you to refi it, you have to have your solar company take their lien off, so you can refinance it, and then come back in.
Wow.
And that's something I don't think a lot of people understand
They don't.
how those work. I mean, the government says it's a good deal, and you know you're going to make a fortune. Maybe.
Right.
You know, you're going to spend money to make money.
Buddy of mine, 75 years old, successful man, lives out in the country, was proud to tell me about he's having solar panels put on his house. And I'm like, well, how long are you going to live there? Well, he says, I have no intention of moving. I said, you're 75 years old. Are you going to be there 10 years? He goes, well, I don't know. I'm hoping to be here 10 years. I said, it may not pay
What's the
off.
payback?
Right.
If the payback's 15 years.
Right.
You should have went to Disney World.
It may, right. Because he currently has, I was going to say thermonuclear war. He has geothermal.
Okay.
And he says, I'm going to have a complete greenhouse when I sell it. Like, I don't think you're going to have a complete greenhouse. But, and it was really important. $40,000 is what they're going to charge him on this.
And that's like some of the metal roofs. And I'm not complaining about metal roofs. I think there's some wonderful products out there.
Sure.
But if they're giving you a 50-year warranty or a 75-year warranty, and you're 75,
right?
It's just not. I built a house for a guy, and they were in Hawaii, and he called me just for a checkup, and I said, hey, I ended up getting you a 65-year warranty on your roof, on your shingles. He said, why would you do that? I'm 65. And I said, I didn't do it for you, Jeff. I said, I did it for your wife.
Yeah.
Once you're gone, her new boyfriend is going to really appreciate what I did for your house.
That's awesome.
And he said, this is why I hate you and why I love you. And
my gosh, they're
I
funny.
built several homes for this guy, so it was kind
my goodness.
of, I like to pick on him a
Yeah.
little bit, but
I hear
he didn't think that was as funny as I did.
you. Yeah.
That was a little fun.
Solar panels are the thing. You got to have them.
Yeah.
My neighborhood's full of them. I've never sold a house with a solar system on it.
Yeah.
I've never written an offer on a house that has a solar system. So what I'm hearing is I need to have a separate inspector, separate inspection of those solar panels.
And then, is it inspecting or is it testing?
Oh, there's a great question. That will be a question to WRA, Wisconsin Realtors Association, later today.
Because I don't honestly know.
Right.
We don't, we're not supposed to look at or inspect antennas.
Yeah.
We don't do solar panels. There's a lot of, we have a list of things that we do not look at.
Okay.
And
Give me one that people would be surprised at.
number one, as far as roofing goes, we're never required to go on a roof or set a foot on a roof ever.
Why is that? Because I would think you need to be up there looking at those dimples.
Safety.
I would say probably safety. You know, and I go up there whenever I can. Now I've had houses where, you know, it's a 12-12 pitch. It's been drizzling. It's rainy.
Yeah, you're not going.
I'm not going.
No. No.
But I have a drone, so I'll go up with the drone and at least take a look.
Ah.
You used to use your binoculars.
Yeah, I still have them in my toolkit.
Do you?
Sit there and
I love
see
it.
what you can see. And actually, with the drone, I can actually see better. You get a better visual on the shingles
Yeah.
through the camera on the drone than I can with my regular eyes.
And you can take pictures.
And yep.
Yeah.
So see, inspectors don't do things the same way either.
No.
You know, like, so you need to ask questions. Do you
Yep.
go on a roof? Do you not? If not, what do you do? Or do you just not do it?
I mean, the state actually frowns on us looking at appliances. They think we don't really know the difference between GE and Frigidaire.
Sure.
And that's true, but we all look at them.
Sure.
You all know if
So
they're
now it
functioning
becomes
properly.
a thing that we just do even though we're not required to.
Huh.
Where if an attic or crawl space, if it looks dangerous, we're not required to go in there. And again, these are the places you find the issues.
Oh, sure.
So
I mean, the attics especially, you can't get in there because all the stuff in the closet is blocking the entrance to it.
Yep.
The builder didn't put an easy access into that attic. Are they required to do that by law, though, to give attic access?
yeah,
But they put it in a closet, and then they put shelving and...
shelving. Or I had a house that I inspected that had 3 cages with a pit bull in each cage.
Oh, you're not going.
And I love dogs. I'm not moving pit bulls.
No way, man.
So
No
when I
way.
did come back, I had them move it, and I came back and looked. And again, we're not required to ever come back,
Uh-huh.
but I'm working for my client.
Yeah.
And they wrote me a check, and I got paid. So
Sure.
I feel that you got to
Well,
step
you're a good
step out.
human, so there's a difference.
You know, when I'm doing a listing, so I'm walking around doing my visual inspection the way I do, but I'm not required to go in that attic
No.
or do anything like that. But what I will say to people is, this is the one of the most important inspection areas that gets flagged. And what it gets flagged about are little bitty things you see on the insulation.
Yep.
And I said, just need to make you aware of that. And if you have a mouse trap up there, you may be there just as a precaution. That needs to go away. And they said, well, isn't that kind of cheating? And I'm like, no. If you know you have mice, then you need to report it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you visual things that you need to remove before the home inspector gets here. Because he'll find out.
Yeah.
He'll find out anyway. But
I just had one. It's a young couple that I have done quite a few inspections for, and they're friends of mine.
Uh-huh.
We were friends first.
okay.
And,
Are they still friends?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
good. Just checking.
So they found themselves pregnant with triplets,
Oh, wow.
and she said there's a weird smell here, right in this one area, and I don't know what's going on, and I don't know if it's the pregnancy enhanced her smell or.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I know a lot of things change.
Sure.
And so yeah, I got up in there, and there was mice in the attic, and they were using this area right between the where you go from the garage into the house,
Uh-huh.
directly above that. That's what they were using for their bathroom. It was the pee smell.
No.
I mean, it was all crystallized on the plastic.
Sure.
You could see, and I'm like,
She smelled it.
you got a
Nice
little
nose.
rodent issue. You're in the country, so you should expect it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
this probably should be cleaned up for your own health and safety,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
under your circumstances.
And the babies on the
And the
way.
babies, yes.
Mhm.
In my
They have a 1-year-old at home too, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
They make
he's
great
evil.
pets.
That's
Great
Ew.
pets. There's nothing wrong with mice. So I had a deal years ago at one of the 17 years I've been doing this, where we knew there were mice. So Badger Exterminators comes out, great guys, and they're sealing up the areas where they know access could be,
Yep.
and then they set their traps and all that. And I said, so is that going to stop them? And the guy laughed at me, and he says, Bill, he says, I'm going to tell you right now, there's not a house out there that doesn't have mice.
Nope.
And I said, what? I said, my house doesn't have mice. He says, I'll bet you your house on it.
Wow.
And I said, what are you talking about? He says, I'm telling you, every house. He says, this is what I want
Find
you.
a way.
He goes, I want you to do this. I want you to go to your house, and I want you to go down in the basement, and I want you to look at the insulation up against the, what is that?
Sill.
The sill.
The ring joist.
He says, what I want you to look for are little bitty circles that are about the size of a quarter. He says, they're almost perfect. He says, those are mice holes. And I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. So now every house I go into, I'm like,
Oh, so they just chew through the
insulation.
and find a way.
So,
wow.
interesting thing, I built a house a while back here, a couple years now, but we ended up doing all the closed cell foam in the walls.
Okay. That's supposed to be better.
The feel of the house is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So, the lady tells me one of the reasons, she goes, besides the efficiency, one of the other reasons is the mice stay away from the insulation because it kills them.
The spray foam.
Yeah, so I asked my insulator. He's like, no, that's BS. He said they can't sense the heat from outside because of the foam.
Oh.
That's why they don't come into your house.
I'll be a son of a gun. I had no idea.
I didn't either.
Interesting.
And
So spray
Wow.
foam.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And it's a little expensive,
Yeah.
and this was a
But worth it.
monster house, but, you know, they had the
Huge
funds
road
to be able to
setup.
do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you could absolutely tell there's something was different about this house, just your general feeling inside of
And
it.
it's just better insulation anyway for the house,
Yeah.
it sounds like. Better R
Well,
value.
Better R value, and then the foam goes in, and so in the cavities, there's no room for air to get in there. It's completely sealed, so there's
Yep.
no cavitation inside the wall cavities. And that's where you put your hand by an exterior wall and you feel cold in there. That's the wind on the air on the other side that's moving through there. That's what you're feeling.
Does it also keep out spiders and other creepy crawly things? Probably, if they don't
maybe.
have a way to.
Yeah,
Except at your
Oh.
house.
it's yeah.
I'm gonna be looking at the spray foam.
Yeah.
You should. There's
And you can do that from the exterior or interior without pulling out walls or
Well, check
if you're
with
doing a
check
siding
with
job.
check with the insulating companies. I give you the name of my company afterwards, but I'm sure you can. I'm sure there's a way. But this was new construction, so
Yep.
it was just wide open.
For
And-
people
and-
who want to insulate their homes now, though, you know.
Yep, after
But
the
they don't
fact.
wanna
Well,
tear
ring
out
joist,
stuff.
that's where 40% of your air loss and air infiltration is coming from. The place where
Yeah.
Joe was talking about.
Where the foundation
the
and
mic-
the first floor kind
Yep.
of come together.
Wow.
Yeah.
So spray that, and you can buy cans, they're called froth packs. The small one's probably $3.50, the big one's $7.50. An average ranch will take at least $7.50. Here's the thing, an insulating company has a $750 minimum charge, and that probably fits in there. So why get sticky?
Why get a
Why
mess?
get a
Somebody
mess?
else do
Let the
it.
professionals do
Let
it.
them come in and spray it.
Yeah.
And if they come in and do that just in that ring joist, you will feel a difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Hey, you've been listening to Jim Belanger. He is the owner of Wisconsin Home Inspections and jimonhomes.com. And if you want more information, go to his website, jimonhomes.com, get a hold of him. If you currently have a house, you're thinking about selling it, call Jim, and he can always come out and he can always answer any of the questions you have prior to selling your house. And then the key idea is a pre-inspection, I think, is priceless. A lot of sellers don't want to go through the cost, but I've told them I think that cost will be offset by what's going on. But in this market, what we've experienced in the past year and a half, people are just going, I'll take it.
Yep.
I haven't been in it. I'll take it. I'll take 2. Give me 3. It's a deal.
I have met people at their inspection probably a half a dozen times, and that was the first time they'd seen the house in person.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It is happening. We got about 6 minutes left. What's the biggest inspection item?
Double tap neutrals in the electrical. We see that all the time.
That's the most important thing?
Not necessarily the most important thing. I think the important thing is making sure all the systems are working properly.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of a group thing. But that's one that we find all the time.
Okay.
In houses.
And that wasn't a bad thing. That's just from years ago.
Yeah.
And that was the standards of practice back
Back in the
Back in
day,
the
that's just how
day,
they did it.
back
That
in
was
the
preferred
70s.
method, you know. So it went from a rule to you should always do it this way to never do it this way.
Well, you used to be able to put a quarter in a screw,
A penny and a fuse.
penny in a fuse, right? It would still work.
And one pop. House might burn down, but it won't pop the fuse.
Yeah, so those double taps, it's okay. I mean, the house is not going to burn down.
No.
It's not going to burn down.
But if you're if you're not taking care of it right away, next time you have an electrician there doing some work,
let them do it.
have them fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if you don't have the frost-free outdoor spigots of those bibs. When you're having a plumber come out, have them put those in.
It's not that costly.
It's not that costly, but it'll help in the long run.
Right.
And most of the old school ones don't have a anti-siphon device. And
Sure.
You don't want what you're watering your lawn with, or have the chemical thing hooked up there that you're spraying your lawn with to go back into the drinking water system.
That's true.
And that's a good thing.
It happens all the time. All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You know, railings are something too.
Huge.
Well, but the gap between the railings,
Yeah.
that's because it's old school.
Right.
That's what it was before. I used to love putting my head through there.
Well, it used to be like
Didn't you do that, Laura?
No.
You're on a, oh yeah, you get
That's a
it.
girl. That's a boy thing, I think.
Is it? Okay.
I
But-
just didn't feel the need. Yeah.
They used to be, like a foot on center, and
Sure.
kids fell through, so they made it 9 inches on center, and the skinny ones still fell through, so then they went 6 inches on center, and that's where they get their head stuck,
Sure.
which I think is a character builder.
I think
But,
so too.
That's
Once. Only you do it
So I
once,
think
baby.
once. Yeah.
Woo, as long
That's-
as you keep your ears, right, attached, trying
that's
to get out.
the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you address an older home, say 1900s, something like that, that's got the skinny tall stairs? Because those aren't in code.
One of the first things I do when I meet the people, I say, now, Bill disclosed to you that this is not new construction, right?
Right.
And they go, yeah, I know, it's 112 years old. You go, okay, so we're going to find a lot of stuff that's indicative of a 100-year-old home.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it's bad. It's just not meeting maybe today's codes, today's standards. And if it's a safety thing, we write it up as a defect. That's just,
Yeah.
but you have to know, I'm telling you your stairs are a defect, don't fall down them, and you're fine.
Yeah, and I feel they're like
It's
3
that
inches
simple. Don't
wide
fall
though.
down.
Yeah, try not to,
You know?
put your head through the railing, get your head stuck.
Got 2 minutes left. Flipping any homes? Got anything
haven't,
going?
haven't recently.
Well, you had the one that caught fire. You and
Yep.
Kevin took care of that,
Yep.
right? Did well on that?
We did very well on it.
Nicely
And
done.
it's,
Oh, Kevin Clark, that's right. I
yeah.
saw that one, yeah.
it's a great house. It's on the Jim on Homes channel on YouTube.
Oh,
Is it
fantastic.
done,
Series on
sold?
that.
People
Oh, yeah.
moved in?
Yep.
Good.
They just have this weird odor, like somebody's smoking all the time.
This one was so bad. I mean, we gutted it literally, and that's one of the reasons I did I did video on it, because I wanted the buyer to see we took no shortcuts. This is brand new, so
Okay.
Well,
Better
nice
to just do it, right?
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and not have residual things popping up later.
That's true. Got anything going on, Laura?
I don't know how to answer
Got
that.
any roundtables happening?
Yeah, actually, let me say this quick. The Homebuyers Roundtable of Dane County has free homebuyer education classes. So July 30th, you need to sign up on our website, which is homebuyersroundtable.org. It is an all-day Saturday, but it's worth it. It's a lot of good education about the whole process. And in the end, you'll get a certificate that says you completed HUD-approved, government-approved education. Homebuyersroundtable.org. Go sign up.
Awesome. I knew it. I'll give you a little nudge once in a while. A
Well,
nudge.
it's not for me. It's a good thing for
everybody,
any
it is.
homebuyer out there. Yeah.
Jimmy, thanks for being here, man.
hey, thanks for having me. I
You
appreciate it.
you are a true champion for people, my friend, and
Thank you.
I've watched you. I've seen you in action, and from my bottom of my heart, they're the best, and that's all I
Appreciate
know.
that. Thank
And
you.
so, thanks for coming on. Come back again.
Anytime.
I think you're
You're
our
number 6.
I think you're our leading
Right?
guest, besides Peter Zaroff.
Valerie Rank is.
Oh,
the
Valerie
second
Rink, she's
one.
up there too. That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, Sudbury, have a great Wednesday, and catch me over at Farmers Market this Saturday. Going to be a lot of events happening. Love to see you, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget about concerts on the square tonight in beautiful downtown Madison, where it's going to be humid as hell.
windy, maybe it's not going to be that bad.
No, it won't. That shouldn't be that bad. Sun Prairie, take care, and we'll see you next time right here on the radio. Bye, Sun Prairie.
Bye, Sun Prairie.
Bye.
It actually doesn't feel as hot as they said it was supposed to be. Not even
Still on
close.
Facebook.
I didn't say anything naughty.
I don't think I did this time either.
What?
I don't think I did this time either.